This is Ben Doughty for Sugar, Silk and Stretch with newly crowned European welterweight champion Dee Allen. How's it going, Dee?
Yeah, good, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
So Dee, we're doing an interview today, and the crux of it for me is that there has been astonishingly little publicity about your European title victory in France last month, I believe.
Yeah.
I think you've been somewhat a little frustrated at the lack of acclaim for winning a prestigious major title.
Yeah, I would have, to be honest, I would have thought that after winning the European, I would have got more exposure. Hopefully, I was thinking it would have got me like a promotional deal or more sponsorship or just something, but I just feel like I haven't really got the recognition that I deserve after becoming the European champion. I'm still working, nothing, doesn't feel like, for me, it doesn't feel like anything's changed getting this belt, and I thought this was going to just change kind of my life or put me in a better position. And maybe it has in the rankings, but outside in life, everything's still the same for me.
You said that it was actually quite a difficult situation out in France. But talk to me a little bit about the realities behind the glamour of holding up the European title. Show them the belt a second. This is the European EBU. There's a lot of bogus titles in boxing today and a lot of kind of ranking tool belts. The EBU is the proper traditional continental championship, the same one that Tony Simpson held, the same one that Colin Jones held, the same one that Harold Graham held. It is a proper belt. Okay, put it down a second, Dee. Behind the kind of glamour that achievement proclaims, talk to me about the reality you found in France, like in terms of trying to get proper nutrition and all the rest of it.
Yeah, that was really difficult. Before the fight, I don't feel like I was refueled enough. Trying to get food that kind of type of food that I normally eat before a fight. I like to have like certain sweet potatoes or potatoes and certain things at certain time, and I couldn't do it the way that I normally do it. So stepping in the ring, I didn't feel like I had enough energy or any reserves left. So I did feel like I did get tired pretty quick in the ring. I just felt really unsettled. I didn't feel like everything was organised in a way that I felt relaxed leading up to the fight. I kind of felt really stressed out days before the fight.
And this is understandable if you're just taking a fight abroad and it is what it is and it's a bit rough and ready. A lot of people go through that early in their career, particularly if they're not like a media darling or with a favourite promoter. But you expect a little bit better when you're fighting for the Championship of Europe, right?
Yeah, definitely. I expected a lot more fighting for the European title, and I expected it to be streamed. I was told it was going to be streamed and it wasn't. And I expected at least afterwards to be able to like have a video or some video footage so I can watch it back, and there's absolutely nothing out there.
So we can't even see your European title triumph, and you would like to watch it yourself and keep it as no doubt as a memento of your career, and it doesn't exist.
No, it doesn't exist. It wasn't streamed, it wasn't videoed by the promoters, but I don't really understand how it wasn't. It was such like, it's a European title, so I really expected everything to just be done in a kind of professional way, and I feel like it wasn't really.
Yeah, you have a world ranking with the WBO and the WBC. The welterweight female division is hot right now. You have Jessa McGeskill holding 2 of those sanctioning body belts. You have Natasha Jonas and Sandy Ryan holding the other. Presumably you're focused on any and all of those champions if you could get the opportunity.
All of them. I want to get to the top of the welterweight division. I want to win all the titles. So if I've got to fight all of them to get there, then that's what I'm looking to do. And if I could do that by next year, that's what I'm definitely looking to do.
Which one would you most like to fight first, or which of those fights do you find yourself most thinking about when you're imagining your career?
Jessica McCaskill, I want to kind of. Yeah. I don't want to be disrespectful, but I don't really rate her boxing, so if I can just take her out of the welterweight division, and then Sandy Ryan or Natasha Jonas and then Sandy Ryan. I think it'll be a good fight, me and Sandy Ryan, to be honest. Sure.
And you think, I'm aware that you thought that Sandy beat McGeskill back in, I think it was September the 23rd in Texas. Yeah. The way you saw it, yeah?
Yeah, the way I saw it, 100%. I think Sandy definitely outclassed her and definitely won that fight. I don't know how it was a split decision.
Do you know, looking at McGeskill, I've got to say, she looks kind of like almost like a kind of cave girl style. It really isn't too refined. Some people criticise female boxing full stop and say the skill levels are not really there and they just throw hands and there's a lot of heart and there's a lot of grit. kind of guts and all the rest of it, but the finesse is not really there yet.
Yeah.
What's your feeling about that?
That's what's always been the problem leading up to recently with female boxing. They've always said it's just been scrappy, it's just messy, it's just like watching a fight in the street.
Yeah.
But I think now, since kind of 2012 when the Olympics was females first boxed in the Olympics, I think technically women are a lot better, and the younger generation coming through, you will start to see like the technical ability of females is stepping up higher and higher. So now like more fights are more, they'll be more interesting. It won't be like cat fights.
Amanda Serrano recently boxed 12 3-minute rounds against, I think it was Danila, forgive me, I can't recall this, Ramos or something, some Latino sounding. Regardless, Amanda Serrano's last fight was over 12 3-minute rounds. Is that something you'd be in favour of, the equality of converting female championship fights to the same as the men's?
I'm not too sure. I'm in
You've
two
actually got to
minds.
do it. You've actually got to do it. I can have an opinion.
Yeah.
But you've actually got to do those 12 3-minute rounds.
Yeah. Obviously it will be more tiring, but the only thing I think personally is that it might make it a bit boring. Like the 2-minute rounds it kind of makes you got to speed up, kind of.
Yeah.
You've got to think faster.
Like the
you've got to move
amateurs, but
faster.
for 10 rounds.
Yeah, you could still like do classy work and show your skills and like set things up in the 2-minute rounds, I believe. But it just makes it more exciting because it's like you've got 2 minutes, so there's never a long period where you're not punching because you haven't got time for that. But I think over 3 minutes, I know you've got to think more, but I think it might slow the females down a bit too much. And maybe at this stage where female boxers is still rising, it might not be the best idea to put it over 3 minutes, because then it's going to slow it down and it's not going to be as exciting, and that's what people want to see. They want to see more knockouts in female boxing, they want to see more technical ability in female boxing, they want more excitement in female boxing. So I'm kind of in two minds. I don't know, like I said, I can knock them out in 3-4 rounds or 1 round, so that's what I've done. So personally I don't really think it makes a massive difference.
Do you consider yourself a puncher?
Yeah.
And that is relatively rare, or more so rare in the female game, true?
Yeah.
Okay. But you consider yourself a puncher. I mentioned physically, you remind me, if I was looking for a comparison in the world of men's boxing, I would come up with Tommy Hearns, who was obviously a lethal puncher. I mean, is that the kind of mindset and the kind of way you see yourself as someone who takes people out?
Yeah.
And did you always have the power from a teenager?
I think I have always had the power, but I just never knew how to access it, shall I say. In the amateurs,
Talk to me about that. Go on.
In the amateurs, I've always it's been broken noses or bust lips, or it's always been blood or really hurting people. And I think I've stopped 1 or 2 in the amateurs.
Yeah.
But I never really knew how to sit on my punch. In amateurs, it's not about sitting on your punches, so I never really knew how to sit on my punches to actually generate that power. But obviously, going over as a pro, that's what they've teach you.
Yeah.
And I think now I'm actually able to access my power. To be honest, I didn't really know that I had it.
How to use it. Do you know, it's funny because I mentioned Tommy Hearns. Well, that was the case with Tommy Hearns too. He was an amateur jabber mover, and he had over 100 amateur fights. I think he only had about 8 stoppages in all that time. When he turned over with Emmanuel Stewart, the all-time great Kronk Supremo, he became this chilling knockout artist who went on this crazy knockout streak. And they said Tommy wasn't knocking hardly anybody out in the amateurs, but he learned how to use that leverage in the pros. So that's another parallel you got right now. We're going to keep pushing this Tommy Hearns angle, I think.
Definitely.
But you've said that you haven't had the acclaim you think you deserve, and right now you don't have a big promoter behind you, which is obviously it has everything to do with that. Do you have another fight on the horizon right now as we speak?
Not as yet. I haven't seen to my manager and coach. There's nothing in the pipeline yet. So, but we'll find out in the next coming weeks, before the new year, what I'll be fighting for next.
Okay.
I mean, I've definitely going to have to defend my EBU, so that should be, to be honest, I think that's probably next in the pipeline, defending my EBU title.
Sure. You're 32 years old currently, but you've only had the 6 professional fights. Fighters anyway are lasting longer nowadays. I remember there was an era when being 32, when women didn't box at all, but any fighter being 32 was regarded as being a bit long in the tooth, past noon, looking at the downside. But in terms of your projection, you think you go on for several years yet?
go on for however long.
Yeah.
I think I don't feel like I've just kind of reached my peak in boxing. And I feel physically
and
strong.
athletically.
Yeah, physically strong. I'm ready to go, and I don't feel like I'm slowing down at all. I feel like I'm getting stronger, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you consider yourself any kind of historian of the female game and those fighters back in the day like Lucia Riker and Christy Martin and such?
I always look up to Anne Wolf. When I first started, Anne Wolf. When I first started boxing, when I was 16, I was obsessed. That's the first. When I typed in female boxing, she's the first one that come up, and then I was like, wow. So I used to watch a lot of her boxing and her story, and her life story outside of the ring is similar to mine. So it's nice to see that. It was nice then, especially where I was going through, like I was angry all the time and I was going through certain things. It's nice to see that, you know what, you can come out the other side. I mean, it's taken a long time, but it is doable.
I mean, Anne Wolf was a beast. If you were looking for a female Mike Tyson parallel, it's Anne Wolf all day, isn't it? There isn't
definitely.
any. Some people say Lucia Riker was the greatest female fighter of all time. Some people, some people are even calling Katie Taylor not just the greatest, female Irish fighter of all time, but just the greatest Irish fighter of all time, full stop, which makes some of the diehards spit their coffee out or whatever they happen to be imbibing at the time. That's another debate we could have. But Anne Wolf she's definitely the undisputed champion of meanness as far as the female game goes. I mean, when you talk about wanting to knock people out and wanting to do damage, is that because of any kind of rage inside of you, which might have been gleaned from other experiences in life?
I have a lot of anger from outside the ring, and
from your story.
Yeah. I have a lot of frustration from within boxing as well, because like I said.
So you put them both together. You put life experiences, being pissed off with the business, and you think you make it all one package of
of rage, to take out on my opponent. But it's just frustrating because I think I kind of give everything or offer everything that a female boxer should offer, and I don't feel like I get any recognition. And honestly, I do watch female boxing and I see other females ain't as good as me and don't do as much in the ring and ain't as exciting, but they're a lot further than me, and honestly I don't get it.
What's your take on it? Obviously, when women do anything in the media, sexuality is something you cannot separate from it. You can decide not to play the game, you cannot buy into it, but it cannot be ignored as an option. The most obvious example I would suggest is Ebony Bridges. She looks like a kind of glamour model. Yeah. She weighs in a lingerie all the time, so she always breaks the internet every time she jumps on the scales. And Eddie Hearn's doing his best not to look, and he's just looking forward, and people start doing memes and screenshots of that. What is your view and take on the whole woman advertising her sexuality with a view to promoting her boxing brand?
If I'm completely honest, I don't agree with it.
You wouldn't entertain it, obviously. No,
because I think after women feminism and all of that, and trying to get equal rights and trying to be respected, it's like we're finally getting a position to be respected on a big platform as like boxing, and get respected as fighters and women. And it's just like to sexualize it. It just kind of defeats the purpose, because that's what women didn't like. They didn't
meaning of patronising.
Yeah, they didn't like being sexualised was an issue. Like if you're walking down the street and you get wolf whistled, that was an issue. Like certain things like that. Like women wanted respect, and it's like now we've got a position to have respect. It's like you're kind of going back in the opposite direction.
And Katie Taylor's never done that, has she? You wouldn't see Katie Taylor doing some revealing pictorial layout in some popular magazine. I mean, I think magazines in general are less important than they used to be, because everything's online and that's social media these days. But you wouldn't see Katie Taylor trying to exploit herself in that fashion, So it's not so. The thing with Ebony Bridges, initially I was tempted to dismiss her just as some plastic Barbie doll who was precisely just looking to cash in on her assets. And she didn't look too clever when I looked at some footage of her before she fought Shannon Courtenay. The saving grace with Ebony, I think, is she has got a fighter's heart. She's got grit. And when you look at the fight she had with Shannon Courtenay a few years back, both those girls tried to decapitate one another to win that title, and you can see how much it meant to them. So that is what gets Ebony out of jail, I suppose, in terms of credibility. Yeah, you have to give her
credit for that she actually does put on a good performance in the ring as well. It's not just about looks and that. It's like in the ring she is entertaining, and she can, and
she'll walk through hell to get the victory. She
won't back down.
That's one reason I forgive her for the more kind of Barbie doll histrionics, I suppose. But as a boxing person, you're pretty. Do you make weight easily, Dee? You're a tall woman.
Been making weight okay.
147, yeah?
Yeah, I'm 5'9", making 147. It's alright.
Okay. The perception is you're taller. Your ambience is taller than 5'9".
Is it?
If you're only 5'9", you're only. You know what? You're about the same height as Marvin Hagler was. He's smaller than you. Well, God rest his soul, but he was smaller than you'd expect him to be when you meet him in the flesh. But so you don't struggle with making a 147 at all. You just tell me about your You were saying you couldn't eat what you wanted to eat on the day of the European title fight. What is your ideal pre-fight meal?
So after I've weighed in, I'll have like electrolytes and like a bit of fruit, and then I'll have like a meal. But I normally like to have like my sweet potatoes and sweet potatoes. That just seems to give me the most energy and give me everything back that I need.
Yeah.
Then I'll have like chicken, and literally before I step in the ring, not literally just before, like 20 minutes, 40 minutes, I'll have like some jelly babies or something like that.
Jelly babies, yeah, so a bit of sugar before you go in the ring, yeah?
Yeah, I managed to have the jelly babies, but I didn't manage to have like the sweet potato.
So you got jelly babies in France, yeah? They had those there? Or did you bring them with you?
No, I brought those with me actually.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, I don't think they'd have those either.
Yeah, I brought the jelly babies over, but I was thinking, in hindsight, I should have made foods and brought it with me. 'Cause I think that would have been the smartest thing to do, instead of expecting to get food out there, but that I normally eat. I just like routine. I have a routine that I do before a fight, and it's worked, and I've kept it since the amateur. It works for me, so I just don't like to change it. Like, I eat the same food before every fight.
Fighters tend to be very superstitious creatures. I know some people, even some fighters over the years, would say they always put the left glove on first when they're gloving up, or always make sure the right glove went on first. Do you have any other pre-fight superstitions like that?
It's just the food, and then getting into the ring, I have to go in, out, in.
See, Floyd Mayweather started that stuff. I swear to God, I think he did.
I don't know, but for me, I don't know what it does. For me, it just feels, I just need to do it. Maybe it's OCD. It just feels like I need to do it in, out, and then step in. It just feels like the right way to enter.
Yeah, I swear to God that Floyd Mayweather started that, because I don't know. You see loads of fighters do it nowadays. Yeah. I think particularly ethnic fighters. I think black fighters tend to do it more than their Caucasian counterparts. I don't know why. Yeah. That's what I've observed. So I think it is a Floyd Mayweather kind of black swagger thing. That's what I'm aware of. You know. Let's finish off with a quick fire round, Dee. Your favourite female fighter of all time? Anne Wolf. I'm sorry for sounding like an idiot, because you've already said that and I knew that, but it was just the question. Yeah. This part of the interview wouldn't have worked without me reiterating that. Favourite male fighter of all time?
It's always between Tyson or Ali.
Yeah, if I were you, I'd go with Ali, but I'm not here to influence you. You've got your own mind, your own woman. And then I don't make a gender specification here. Your favourite fight of all time?
I think that is Muhammad Ali.
Yeah. Well, no. So favourite fight of all time. So
fight.
Contest. Yeah. Bout. Sorry.
Oh, fight. Oh, you put me on the spot there. 72.
There's a lot. I mean, I understand that.
I don't think I have a specific.
You don't have a specific one. No, just favourite fighters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Person that you'd most like to meet in boxing?
I don't know, I keep saying Anne Wolf, but I do want to meet Anne Wolf. Yeah. I really look up to her.
Yeah. Well, what's she up to these days? Is she still involved in the game, do you know?
I'm not too sure. I've got her on Instagram. I mean, there's not really much going on her Instagram, so I'm not really sure what's going on in her. You know,
I'm going to talk to the guys and see if we can get her on Sugar, Silk and Stretch as a guest on a podcast. And if we get her to agree to it, I'll hit you up and we'll let you know. Yeah. But in the meantime, it's been brilliant to meet you this morning. I'll be taking an increased interest in your career from here on in. There might be a few developments that can't be spoken about just yet, but we're wishing you all the best. Thank you for your time today. Be lucky.
Thank you.